that missed opportunity, that missed time, the things that I could have done and seen and taught because of that fear of being called out for being too loud, too show off, too in your, whatever. And then to be here now at 42 and going, do you know what? Actually, let's just get on with it because we're here for a lifetime, not a long time. There's no final curtain. There is no dead end. Like, you will carry on. It will carry on. Life carries on. And which direction you're going to go, or the only person that makes you stuck is you.
This is the Born to be Brilliant podcast, helping you harness the habits and unlock the tools to bring you more meaning, vibrance, and the personal power to help you shine like the diamond you are. Welcome everybody to another episode of the Born to be Brilliant podcast. So I am beyond excited to introduce today's guest because she is somebody I knew a long time ago. In fact, we were on each other's hen do's, spent a lot of time together in our early 20s actually, and a couple of decades on, we have reconnected. Nicole is a multi-passionate entrepreneur. She's like me. She doesn't really do labels. She doesn't really do boxes. I don't really know what to call her, but she's certainly creative, a visionary, a go-getter, somebody that I know our audience will really relate to. And we have got a little connection of our background in the entertainment world. So a massive warm welcome to the podcast, Nicole. How are you doing?
Thank you so much. I am, like you, thrilled to be here. What do I do? Who am I? That makes me laugh because, you've hit the nail on the head. I'm a bit of everything. That is okay because we're born to be brilliant, right?
Exactly, we are. And in being a bit of everything and not having to be in a box or have a label is just everything I stand for. So I love that. You're the epitome of that. So Nicole, just give our listeners a little bit of a background of you, like what you're all about, because I think that's a great place to start.
Brilliant. So what am I all about? I'm about creativity. I'm about energy. I'm about goals. I'm about visions. I'm enthusiastic. I want to take everyone with me. I'm empathetic. I'm a cheerleader. And I started off as a performer. And I think those words kind of describe most performers: energetic, excitable, passionate, goal setting, all of that. So that was me in a past life. And that is how you and I met in the performing industry many moons ago. And to be quite honest, at that point in my life, I thought it was going to be the direction that I went on forever. I had been placed in that box. I was bloody good at it. And so why wouldn't it be, me till the end of dawn? But actually there's been a few pivots since then, and as I grew, as I evolved, as my life changed, as my mindset changed, there was just new things that I wanted to experience, I wanted to try. So fast forward to now, I'm actually sat living in Oman as an expat. I've been here for a couple of years, and at that point 2 years ago, it was like, yeah, why the hell not? Let's go try that. In between there, I set up 2 businesses. I've got a production company that creates and produces and provides entertainment on land and at sea. So for the cruise industry, the pandemic, which we all know happened, we can't escape that. That was the catalyst for even more change for me. I did a lot of work on myself. I, experienced all that heartache and hurt that the community in the performing arts industry felt. And I took it upon myself to be a leader and to shine a light on, surviving that, horrendous time. And from there, a second business was born, PerformerPreneur. So I'm sure there'll be many more versions of me in the future, but I've actually come to terms with that. I am okay to try and to do and to be multi-passionate. And so yeah, hopefully that explains a little bit of me. Some people see it's crazy, like too much, too many things, too many tabs open, too many boxes. Like, how can you do everything properly? I have over the years learned to manage my creativity and take my time and consistency and be steady. And now I do believe it's all working really well alongside each other. And I do believe you can be and do all of the things that you are wanting to be.
I couldn't agree more. I think this whole stay in your own lane and pick one thing narrative it's right for some people. Some people do need to focus on one thing at a time. But I think if you have that ability to be multifaceted, it's okay to lean into that. And something that I spotted that you've just said then about you is you're a definite away shower, a bit like myself, where you've gone, okay, the pandemic and how crushing that was for performers in the entertainment space, but you didn't go, oh my gosh, and feed into the doom and gloom. You went, okay, well, hang on, there's going to be another way here, there'll be something, and you knew that you could bring the light, lead that, lift people. I'm like that. And I think when you're like that, you can pour that into all kinds of different niches. It's about actually being a very solution minded. There's a way, there's an option, and you can feel good. And that's why we like to take people with us, because it feels better, right? For them.
Because not everybody's got that superpower. And, I'm owning that word. It is a superpower. And we've all got superpowers. Mine is that I can solve problems, I can see the light, and I can take people on that journey with me, lift them up, and together we can shine and thrive. Like, that is a superpower. I shouldn't be hiding under that bushel of like, oh no, that makes me sound big-headed, because some people need that from me, and I'm there to deliver, and they'll have a different superpower and I will need that from them. So I'm finally owning this kind of bossy boots.
Yeah.
So a bit of our childhood where they're like, oh yeah, no, she'll tell you what to do, or, Nicole will organize the show, and actually, yeah, I can. And that's my superpower, and I'm prepared to do it. And the fact that people are embracing that, both in Manic Stage Productions, when I'm leading, literally leading and creating performances and shows, and I've got the team, and, I'm doing that and producing it for big companies now. So then obviously bringing that closer to home with individuals, helping them build businesses, start side hustles, create financial stability from the entertainment industry. I mean, I'm proud. I'm really proud. And it's took me a long time to say those things, but I think, we're all here for a reason, and I feel like I have found my purpose.
You certainly have. And I think I can relate so much to that. My audience know that I have a background in entertainment and had a Girls Aloud tribute show, and the things that which again, I thought of it, created it. I was inspired literally watching a concert on TV and went, we could recreate that. That would be really cool. Let's do it. And just make it happen, and not just sit on the sofa dreaming, but actually bringing it to life. And that's what I think we have in common. But I think what did you say? I can't remember. But that ability to see what's possible in the entertainment space, the creativity comes probably from dance classes as a young child, that creative outlet of and creative expression that we put into being, dancers and going to dance classes, but taking it that one step further. It's our art, right? And now as multi-passionate, multi-business owner, you put that into all kinds of different things, but that's just always been there. It comes naturally to you. I love that. And I love that you're now able to continue that creativity, give other performers a chance to perform and do their thing, and for some big companies, and have your amazing business.
I think the creativity piece and the growing up in that environment gives you permission that I don't think every person has, right? So this is why, this is definitely a reflection on my childhood. You're in school, you're in youth club, wherever you are, and you're told to be quiet, sit down, or there's a silencing happening. But inside that creative world, inside those dance classes, drama classes, singing, you're allowed to stand up and shine. Now, I just defy anyone to say that if they weren't in that environment growing up, even if they were shy, really didn't like it, or loved it, just being nurtured in that space, which not everybody, unfortunately, has access to, which is another passion of mine. Like, we need all children to have access to that space, because that's when you're allowed to be confident, to be loud, to shine, to try, to show your creativity. So again, why I'm so passionate about helping performers create businesses through PerformerPreneur is because I know that you've got it in you, the tenacity. You started the same place I have. You were given permission. You were allowed to try, be creative, shine, show off, in that space. And so use that to push through to the next spotlight, to do the next thing. So a bit of a tangent there, but I do think confidence, I do think those classes, that time in my life particularly gave me permission. That there was a point in my life, as I'm sure of yours, where you didn't feel that it was okay to be loud and proud and show off, stand out. but it was in there. It had been
Yeah.
built in me from a young age. And when I eventually dared to find it again, it was ready. It was already nurtured.
I love that. And I actually wrote down on my pad when you were talking then the words show off, because I think that you're absolutely right. And it's the conditioning and it's the things you hear. I mean, I talk openly about the fact that I learned not to be a show off because that is bad, and you'll get ridiculed and you'll be, hated if you are a show off. And that has been detrimental to, people would say, well, it hasn't, you do great, but it definitely has held me back, where I've tried to keep a little bit smaller, play a little bit quieter, not just really shine out there brightly for fear of being seen as a show off. But we did get those foundations in childhood. And the best performers, well, if you're going to accuse them of showing off, sure, fine, go ahead. But if they didn't, they'd probably be rubbish. Could you imagine Mariah Carey going on stage and being like, right, I mustn't show off, so let's just make sure that I don't appear in any way to be showing off? Like, it's actually just shining bright. And I think we need to change that narrative, especially in young girls. But it was a training ground for now, right? And that whether you have a performing background or not, if you're going to be successful in business or even in a career of any kind, the confidence to own your essence is, and shine that, whatever that is, whether I always say, whether it's as a front man or a supporter, whether it's the customer facing or behind the scenes, like whatever it is, it's just being, owning that and doing it like fully.
And I think you, me, the listeners will all be able to reflect on a period of our lives where we didn't do that for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And then we'll all be able to kind of pinpoint that pivotal moment where you just think, oh my God, I mean, mine was my 40s, let's not lie. I'm like, why? And you kind of have that light bulb moment. And the reason that, I think we need to be encouraging that younger, like you say, younger girls, because that missed opportunity, that missed time, the things that I could have done and seen and taught because of that fear, of being called out for being too loud, too show off, too in your, whatever. And then to be here now at 42 and going, do you know what? Like, actually, let's just get on with it because, we're here for a lifetime, not a long time. But the other thing I was going to say about that is, what I think the similarities are with the dance class and even the performing, if you did it professionally, that camaraderie, that company, those people. So yes, I know that performing inherently is quite competitive, like the audition line, Pineapple Dance Studios, like who gets the gig. But once you're in the gig, once you've got your people, they really lift you and give you the confidence, which again, I've seen move through my story and my life and the things that I've done and achieved in the business I've created, which is the community piece. The reason I feel brave enough right now is because I've got people around me that are going, hell yes, I feel that too. The reason that the book is going to be a huge success, and we'll talk about that in a second, that's how Lucy and I are back in contact, is because I'm not saying it on my own. You're not saying it on your own. There's 14 people saying the same thing differently, which is, we're okay. We're allowed to evolve, be brilliant, show off, stand up, like do things differently. And so that community, that collaboration piece has been huge for me over the years. Confidence, creativity, community. Well, that's me.
Steve, there you go. And there's more than one way to skin a cat. And that's what I love about the book, which we're going to talk about, is that there are all these different stories, all these different ways. And I like that it brings the reader options and permission. If they're going, right, how do I do this then, or how do I do that? And it's something actually I harp on about all the time, and it's that you don't need someone else's blueprint, someone else's lessons. Sure, that's history. That's what we learn through history. We learn through lessons, what works, what doesn't, what suits some people, what doesn't. And I think when you listen to people's stories in the book or anywhere, you resonate with certain things, identify with certain things and go, oh, that's really true for me too. And other things where you go, oh God, that's not true for me at all. And that's life, that's reality. We're not all cardboard cutouts of each other. I know a lot of our listeners are digital entrepreneurs and work in the online space. And I think digital echo chambers can be so dangerous because we know that the algorithm feeds us more of what we engage with. And then with that narrows and narrows and narrows our view of the world. And I think you can get so caught up then in thinking, right, that it must be this way, or I have to do this thing, or everyone's doing that. It's not everyone. It's the tiny portion of what the algorithm's showing you. And it might not be for you. So I love being able to bring a physical book into the world that anybody can read. To be fair, whether you're a performer or a business owner or not, the lessons are life lessons. The journeys that are real and raw. And there's little things you can identify in with all the different things. Like, I love it. I don't know if we're even going in the self-help category, but I actually think that it does suit self-development, everything. But yeah, tell us a little bit. We're being cryptic. Tell us a little bit about the book that we've been working on together.
So January this year, we started the process. The idea actually came about the year before for me. I have suddenly got this, confidence to shout loudly about a version of, the industry that I don't agree with, that we're in one box, that if you don't make West End, then you failed, if you don't do it same as anybody in any business, any walk of life. You're saying about the online entrepreneur, the same. Like, if you don't do it the way that the person ahead of you's done it, then, don't bother doing it at all, kind of thing. And it's just not true. But I did think at that point, if I'm saying this, I'm passionate about it, I believe in it, some people are hearing it, but it's not rippling far enough. And this is not a me thing. This is not about me. I'm there. I'm already doing it. Like, I don't need to be told or taught. So it's not a me thing. So when I sat with that, I'm like, this isn't a me thing. Like, I could write this book, but it's not going to reach enough people. I need to bring all these people that, again, are brave enough, confident enough, resilient enough to stand up and say what the rest of the world isn't saying, which is it is okay to do things differently. And the fact that we've got 14 authors doing it completely differently is exactly that. It's going to reach more people. It's going to resonate with more people. And it's called Spotlight on Success. Primarily, I reached out to performers. That's my industry. That's who, that's my first love. I want these people to feel that they have the ability to exit the industry and find a new purpose, to exit the industry and not have to go into a 9-to-5 that doesn't suit them or serve them, to exit the industry if they choose to follow a new path, to be enthused, to feel passionate, and to shout loudly about their newfound success. So that's the essence of the book. So Spotlight on Success, it's 14 performers, past and present, who have had fabulous careers, had fabulous trainings, decided early on or late on that it was ready to do something different. Some people, were forced to through injury. Some had families. Some are still really pushing and wanting and successfully performing. So again, it's that exact thing. Like, this is not a one fits all box book. It's come and have a little read, see what others are doing. Let's light the way, guide people to think differently, and hopefully create ripples through the industry that give people more voice, more confidence, more opportunities. And they can do it quietly, they can do it loudly. That really doesn't bother me. But what I want them to do is at least explore it.
It's like the book that throws away the rule book. It's like, there's no rule book. You can do things. Here's a bunch of ideas in different ways. And, if it inspires, plants a seed. I've had so many performers friends say to me, oh, do you ever feel like there's something more for you? This is more before, when we were all in the performing space. And the person that I last remember saying that, I was like, yeah, I know what you mean. And I don't think she could put a finger on what it was, but she knew there was something else that she was supposed to do. Seeing her now, I'm like, yeah, there we go. I see you. But performing, so one of my personal things with performing was that I loved it until I didn't love it. And then I felt like I was more of a slave to it, and it was work. It was money. It was singing for my supper, quite literally. Actually, just like last week, I sang for the first time properly, professionally, to an audience with a previous singing partner of mine for the first time in about 12 or 13 years. And for pure joy. Like, I volunteered us to do it at this particular event. Wasn't doing it for money, wasn't doing it for anything other than pure joy. And do you know what? We had the best time. I probably pulled out the best vocals ever, and I'm well out of practice. But because it was for joy, it was for passion. And I think it's so lovely to reconnect with a passion that you can lose through work and it becoming, so it doesn't have to go away forever. You don't have to be in or out. You don't have to park it, move on, or you don't have to have kids and then grow up and not do that anymore. Like, there's so many options. And I think, it was the right time. So I saw what you were doing and was just like, that looks really cool. But I didn't think it applied to me. I was a bit like, you were like, oh, you'd be great. And I was like, no, I'm not in the entertainment space now. And you were like, no, that's a great story. Like, that's why. And I was like, oh, I see what you mean. And it was so funny because you were talking about confidence and having that voice and not being afraid to share it. And this might sound a little like spiritual here, but I didn't do any rational thought processing on whether to become a part of this book or not. I was just like, something just tells me I need to do this. Like, there's something literally in my being that's like, you need to put your story into this book. Like, your voice is ready to be shared. And I think there's a certain timing thing about that, like right time. I think maybe in our 40s, we run out of F's to give anymore and just go, I'm here. And this is what, this is what I'm about. But it's a great book.
I got goosebumps then, because honestly, it means the world to me, because for a long time it felt like I was shouting on my own and no one could hear it. And, people don't want to hear it, but, whatever. So to know that it resonated with you when I reached out and said, you would fit really perfectly in this, like, come and join me on this journey. But more special than that is the fact of this full circle piece for me, and actually the people who are supporting me, the book, they've always been there. And I think that's a beautiful thing to remember. We've got friends and chapters in our lives, reasons, seasons, lifetime is my thing. People come and they go, and I've got no malice, no worry. Like, that is just life. But when people come back in, honestly, I can't even tell you. And there's been a few recently, and you've said the same. There's been a few recently. I think, how magical is that we've got this history and we've now got this future, and the bit in the middle isn't a blip. It's gonna create so many conversations, so many, oh my God, I bet there was a million moments we were probably side by side in situations the universe wanted. So I'm a bit spiritual too, listeners. I think the universe wanted us to be back together. They wanted you, I, and the 12 people that stepped up. And again, I reached out to various people, and some people wouldn't have felt it. Some people wouldn't have seen the importance of it. They wouldn't have felt that they had anything to share. So again, I was very much like, I'm going to say it to more than I need, because everybody's got something brilliant to share. Like, I truly believe that everybody's story has a lesson. Everybody has success. And what the book has said, ladies and gents listening, is this success is different. Some people's success is putting their children to bed at night and not having to worry about going out and gigging and doing work. Some people's success is still performing and winning awards, and finding that love for the industry again. Some people's success is, all these different things, building businesses, using those transferable skills to stand on stages, to speak, to sing again. So different. I've gone off on a tangent, but to bring them all, for the people that felt it, had that gut yes. No understanding why, but just probably the same as you, like, I feel it, I'm doing it, we'll see what happens. They're my people. Those people are my people, because that's what most people that step out of the industry, drawing it back around to performing, that don't get a 9 to 5, they have no bloody clue what's going to happen next. So it's just a gut, let's just do it, let's give it a go. And this time, as many times for most people, myself, but this particular time, this book, we are doing something super special. And I'm so excited to have you there.
Oh, I'm so excited to be part of it. I really am. I think there's a real lesson there in trust, in trusting that you were exactly where you need to be at any one time. And that, when you feel that feeling in you, then trust it. I was in a room not so long ago, a few months back, and somebody said, person leading the event said, you didn't choose to be here. Like, and I was a bit like, no, I really didn't. I didn't do any rational, right, well, it's this time, this is the cost, I literally went, I need to be in that room. Like, there was no, I just need to be there. I didn't really know why. Didn't really know what my objectives were. I wasn't focused on the outcome. I wasn't focused on what will I get from this? What am I going to take away? How will it serve me? What's my return on investment? I wasn't thinking about any of that. I was just like, I know I need to be in that space. Why? That will become clear later. And I think that's kind of quite a good philosophy for life. Like, when you feel a pull, there's probably a reason why. You don't have to know all the answers, but you know when it's feeling like a yes, and you know when things make you feel tight and like this isn't for me. And how beautiful that it has come full circle like this. I'm actually like bubbling away inside with excitement of like what's to come, because I've got a sense that there's something even greater.
I'm always on to the next thing. So
Yes, same.
believe you me, I've got a whole plan ahead, but I don't want to bombard the authors with it yet, because it's, like, I think we should do this, and then together we can do that, and da, da, da. But those people that want to and feel it will, and those people that, have had their moment in the new spotlight and then they've got to go do other things, that's okay too. I think what's important to just follow on from what you just said and what I'm saying is that feeling can change as well. So I think, and that's about this evolving piece. Like, we've gone, you and I, from standing on stage singing in a tribute act to producing entertainment on cruise liners, to stopping and standing still in the pandemic and then becoming a coach, to now living the expat life and letting everything run online passively, things like that. And I'm coming back to the UK and I'm going to go all out on in person. Like, I want to be in the room. I feel like people need to be together again. I've got a real, again, do they, don't they? I don't know, but I feel so. It. I feel it. I just feel we need to all be together. We need to be doing this together. I'm sick of doing it on my own. But again, we've evolved, you've evolved. Listen to your gut, follow it, do the thing, but also know that it's okay to change. And that's the bit, isn't it? I think we get stuck in a box, we get stuck on a path, and it's really hard to change. It is hard to change. So find the people that are going to support you to do that.
And they change too, right? They change too. So the people who best supported you 5 years ago might not be the best supporters for you now in this phase, and that changes too. Like, I think I've covered that in my chapter, but it's, it really is. The seasons changed, and where you're going changed, direction changes, and that's okay.
Can I throw it back to you? So we've spoke about the book, we've spoke about me. Oh, this is your podcast, but it is our book. So you want to tell your listeners about your piece in this fabulous collaboration?
Yeah, so my chapter is called Beyond the Applause, and it really is about that pivot out of the entertainment industry. Although I did say it's never left my blood, it's still in me, but it's the thing that I think I've realized, and only really recently, is that actually what I've always had within me is I'm a creative and a communicator. So even though people joke about the fact that I can talk a lot, I actually was really shy as a child, but I've always been creative. So whether it's the written word, I love writing. I mean, the written word in books, poetry, articles, I love writing. I also love speaking. And I believe and this is yet to really show its full potential, but I believe I'm supposed to speak on stages with a mic in my hand. And I believe my singing background and that was my training ground. And, I'll do a little bit of singing here and there, but I'm done putting on the sequins and the hot pants and dancing and singing. Like that was then, that was fine. But, now I think that what I learned through that is going to enhance my speaking career and put me where I need to be, sharing the message that I am supposed to share with the world. And so I don't have all the answers to how that's going to unfold, but I fully trust that it's the right path and that I'm on. So my story in there really takes you through that whole journey from childhood and what I kind of knew then, and some devastating twists and turns and unforeseen things that would in some cases crush a person, but how I picked myself up over and over again. The resilience was there, kept going when I could have quit, reimagined, evolved, pivoted, reinvented myself at every stage, while I say always, certainly in the last 5 to so years, reflecting constantly on like, where is this going now? Is this where I need to be? How could this be better? How could this be better is something I'm always asking in everything. But yeah, my chapter will really take you through that whole journey. And I think what's powerful about that and all the other chapters is when you understand where something came from, when you can see the journey, I think it's really eye-opening. It's not just like some big, resume of like, this is where I'm at and these are all my achievements. It's like, it's deep. It explores all of the parts, and I think there's a lot of value in that. So yeah.
We were guided so brilliantly to look at the whole journey. And then obviously with a word count limit for each individual author, you then had to pick moments in that story, in that lifetime, in that journey. So it's not even the full picture, but we did, listeners, start with the whole bloody thing, and that was quite, traumatic for some, cathartic for others, but it got us to where we needed to be. But I personally, and I think by the sounds of it, you feel the same, I am really grateful for that experience because it feels like I've, got such clarity on the past, and that's given me clarity for the future. So anybody that gets the opportunity to look at their whole life like we did and then pick a bit to talk about,
with a deadline.
Well, that's the bit. Bunny said that to me recently. With the deadlines really helped me. So yeah, but yes, I feel like you feel the same. Like it's been a catalyst for change again.
Yeah, it absolutely has. And I think one of the things I found really difficult at first was like, I want to make this about me. Like I need to make it about the audience. How do we make sure it's about them? Not just, me, I. But I think it does become about the reader. But you can't hide from your story. So your story and your journey is what actually they want to read. And that's something I find hard to get my head around. And I think that was my challenge. But it was a good exercise in going, okay, yeah, do you know what? Let's own the story and let's share the story, but from a place of hopefully valuable insight and inspiring lessons and things. So absolutely it is about the reader. So yeah, that was my own little thing.
No one's talking about it, are they? And we're going back to that. People aren't saying it. And people that have moved past performing aren't saying that they used to be a performer. Like there's such disconnect when actually we are now saying and shining a light that it all, and regardless of industry, like we've said, or profession, there's no disconnect. It's all got you to where you need to be. And for people to know, like, and trust you in business, for people to, want to work with you, to feel drawn to you, they need that bigger picture. They need to know all the facets of you, so that they, one, can make a decision, and two, you can be authentic and true and do justice to yourself.
Yeah, definitely. I think this book is for a lot of people. Who would you describe? So Spotlight on Success is the book title, guys. We will drop the links in the show notes and everything, so you can go grab yourself a copy. But who would you say this is for? Like, because initially I thought, oh, this is a book for performers, and I don't think it is. So yeah, well, I want your take.
Well, we all know about niching, and so we had to niche somehow. But no, it's absolutely for anybody. And we've got a guy in the book as well. So it's for absolutely anybody that is at a crossroads or has a future kind of understanding that there will be a crossroads, just to feel seen, supported, and inspired to know that there is no final curtain, is how I word it in the book, because obviously the performing bit, there is no final curtain, there is no dead end. Like you will carry on, it will carry on, life carries on, and which direction you're going to go, or the only person that makes you stuck is you. If you're going to stop at that final curtain, you're going to stay at that dead end or that red light, traffic light, that is you doing that, because there are ways to move through. So if you're at a crossroads, if you're in a quandary, if you are stuck in a job or a situation, just knowing that people are now being brave enough to share their story to inspire you is worth picking it up.
Definitely. Yes, I love that. Yeah, any kind of creative minded, somebody who knows there's more to them. I think, there's so many lessons. And of course it will resonate with performers to some extent, but I think business owners as well. People and our listeners, you know, as business owners and creatives, largely, there's going to be so much value in there for you. There really is. So I can't wait to get it in people's hands.
I often find that entrepreneurs in general are very similar to performers because of the tenacity, the dedication, the, you know, the pushing through and showing up and being visible. They've got all the skills. They just weren't necessarily taught them to the degree that we were. So on the other hand, I do think performers make fantastic entrepreneurs because we've got those things already in our toolkit. So yeah, your listeners, anyone entrepreneurial, I always find that they, one, can't be employed. So that gives us a real good synergy. And two, they've got a bit of sparkle about them. They've got some get up and go. So yeah, 100% for everybody listening, go grab the book.
I once asked the question actually on my Facebook, I think it was. I once said, like, how many of you who, you know, entrepreneurs, how many of you thought as a child you were going to be a singer, dancer, actor, something in the sort of creative arts in that way, out of curiosity? And the response was crazy. Like, it was people who never did go down that path, but they did the dance stuff or thought, you know, I remember answering a question in year 5, someone asking me, what do I want to be? And I said, an actress. And like all those sorts of things, but then they didn't. But they went on to be in business in some way. Maybe they're creative with technology or art or whatever else it might be. It's real. There definitely is a correlation there. There really is. I love it. Oh, Nicole, this has been the best. Like, I could carry on with you for hours, and I'm sure we will off the podcast, but thank you so much for coming on and having this completely real and organic conversation about just the whole journey and inspiring our listeners and talking about what we've put into this book. It's just been such a great project to work on with you.
Thank you for joining me, and thank you for inviting me to talk about it. We could talk all day. Anything specifically that your listeners want or need from me, then absolutely feel free to reach out. But you will see Lucy and I together. When I get to the UK, you'll see us together. We'll be there. We'll be at all the things, doing all the things. There's big things.
Inevitable.
Yeah.
It's inevitable. Nicole's links will be in the notes as well, so you can reach out to her directly. And thanks again. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed this episode, and remember, go out there and shine your light bright because you were born to be brilliant.